Good day, and welcome to the Human Biography Podcast. I'm Sherrod. Today, I've got my dear friend Carissa next to me, and her business partner and life partner next to her. It's Craig. Hello. Good morning.
Hello.
We are at the house of Trendi right now. You know, we are in your domain. So much to learn about what you do here, what you do for the world out there. But let's start how this happened here. Tell me about yourselves and tell me about how Trendi came about, and then we'll go into sort of the more mantra of where it's going. Ladies first, Carissa, would you please?
First?
Yeah,
Okay.
there you go. Yeah.
So Trendi, started back in 2019.
Okay.
And it started with our smoothie machines, actually.
Yeah.
I had come out through a transitional period in my life, and I was looking kind of for this new project that fell more in line with my own personal morals and values versus what the world of business taught us.
Yeah, that's right. Wow.
And I saw an opportunity for change.
Sure.
And also I wanted to do something that was impactful for the world and that helped those that maybe didn't have it as easy as I did growing up or today. And we had met on my birthday.
Yes, there you go.
And, we started chatting, and I'm like, wow, Craig's brain is so special. So special. It does a lot of the things that my brain doesn't do.
Okay.
And I also noticed that a lot of things that I was good at, Craig was, maybe needing a bit of assistance on. And so we were really this awesome team, and we understood our lanes. And so 4 months into dating, I found this, article about the smoothie machine and this technology. And I said, wow, how cool is this? And because I had a background in upcycling, misfit fruits and vegetables through juicing, I thought, how cool is this? These are smoothie bars, that we could help make healthy, nutritious food more accessible for everyone.
Yeah.
Right? Because we were, this was just before the pandemic.
That's right. That's right.
And, we'll talk about that.
Wow, timing is everything.
Timing is everything. And so I sent this article to Craig.
Sure.
And what does Craig do? Craig calls the guy who, is part of this thing, sets up a meeting. The next thing we know, we're on a road trip across Canada to go see this technology.
And the person is in Canada? Is that right?
Was.
Yeah. Good old Canada, right? Good old Canadian kids.
But good old Canadian kids for sure. And so, we started pursuing this project. And we were like, you know what, we're going to do this. And so we raised all the funds.
Wow.
And we needed to get our first unit to Vancouver and to launch it at the CHFIA.
Sure.
The schools, event centers, hospitals, they're all super excited about the smoothie machine.
That's right, yeah.
And then 2 weeks later, COVID-19.
Wow.
COVID.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
First of all, what's interesting is that, what I appreciate, because, I'm in a business partnership with my own wife and partner and life partner and mother of my children. And we discovered that later into our relationship. But you identifying what his strengths were, what your strengths were, and just say, let's not just be a life partnership. Let's try to do something good for the world together. And that was beautiful. And let's hear your version of that, Greg. There we go.
It's a great segue, because on that note, it really came down to we knew that it was bigger than us. It was bigger than our egos. It was more important to get healthy, nutritious food and make it accessible to everyone. And
that's right.
So the inspiration of serving the underserved has driven us from day one. And on a personal note, why, I do what I do. Yeah. It's because I go to bed and I wake up in the morning with the weight of every hungry person on the planet.
Yeah.
And
wow.
Regardless of what we need to do and who we need to do it with, sometimes we got to get people fed.
Why are we doing it, right?
It's all about the why. And so I think where Carissa and I are so aligned fundamentally, we have so many alignments, but the special one is that we're just driven by the mission. And so if that's true, regardless of what happens around us, or to us is insignificant compared to literally starving. And for those of you that have felt hunger pangs on some small level can understand how it feels. But for those of you that are suffering daily with extreme hunger and malnutrition, we're out of time. We need to unify, get over our egos, and get this problem solved, because it's criminal what's happening on a global scale. And right here, and when I say global, don't think that it's outside of our borders.
Yes.
It is deeply rooted in our Canadian system.
Yes.
And until we say it's enough, it's just going to get worse. And now the numbers are skewed. We're getting fed information like 1 in 8 is food insecure in Canada.
Yes.
1.5 million children go to bed and wake up starving every single day in Canada. But these numbers are way smaller than the reality. We don't calculate or measure those things very well as it is, because we don't necessarily think it's that important. And so any food waste that is currently being wasted, that is perfectly nutritious and delicious, that is being thrown out at industrial level, should be immediately criminalized in our system.
Wow.
And by doing this, changing legislation immediately, it will give us the platform and the right to stop it fast and not get caught up in the politics and bullshit that say that we have to it's too big of a problem, or it's very complex, or it's very complicated. It'll take a long time. Bullshit. We need to be motivated by those that are starving. We need to starve with them, or we need to feed them.
Yes.
You decide.
And then I want to know, in this modern world, because I look at the machinery around here, can you tell me the solution that you are creating opportunities for us to engage with?
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
I'm
excited.
It starts with what's possible.
Yes.
And, why do we do the smoothie machine, one might ask? What does that have to do with food insecurity?
That's right.
First of all, it's got to be about education. We have to help to inform the community, as many other great companies are starting to do, about food insecurity. But when you talk about the stem of that, the base of that being food waste, and understanding that we know factually we grow more than enough food to feed everyone. We're actually growing too much food.
Wow.
And yet there's 1 billion people starving, if that's even half the real number.
Wasting.
Well, that's it.
Wow.
So the smoothie machine is a way to just channel our energy and our commitment and our message to the consumer, because Trendi Tech is a B2B, B2G business. So, but we want to keep our fingers on the pulse of the communities, of people, just people.
Yeah, that's right.
And so that's our vehicle. That's our PR, tool that we could put out there. But at the same time, it provides nutritious and delicious rescued ingredients, and it talks about rescued, and it starts to inform, and people ask us, what does rescued mean? You may know of it as upcycled. Well, what does that mean? Most people, the stigma still is there about food waste. They think that food that is considered food waste is not edible, but they couldn't be more wrong.
That's right.
It's a difference between the perfect apple that's created in a standard of the buyers to say this is the way an apple should look and has to look. If it's outside of these parameters, we don't want it. So if the apple is too small or too big, it gets rejected. This is what food waste is, at the farm level. So yes, there are secondary markets, but those are low value secondary markers. And the ones that are suffering the most are the farmers each and every time.
Wow.
And because of that, the source of our food is becoming year over year weaker. Right? Before it was, okay, maybe we're squeezing the buyers are squeezing the farmers. Everyone upstream is making the money in these deals. But the truth is that, we have climate issues now. right?
Huge.
Out of control.
Out of
Yep.
control.
Yep.
Floods, droughts. We've seen this in our own backyard
Absolutely.
in the last year. You know,
Absolutely.
Abbotsford was underwater.
Yes.
Right?
And the soils can't even absorb it anymore. And either they're too dry or they're so deprived of their original nutrients and content.
Yes.
There's no fiber left in to
That's
absorb
right.
the fluids. And it creates mudslides. We're seeing it all over the place.
Wow.
Everywhere that's cold should be warm. Everywhere that's warm is being cold.
Wow.
Droughts. So if we don't, we can make big changes.
Yes.
Virtually overnight.
Yes.
That's how quickly we can do this.
Wow.
We need to create an outlet. That's what Trendi Tech did. Yeah. Trendi Tech worked hard and invested millions of dollars to figure out solutions.
Yeah. And I want to just pull back to where we were in COVID.
Yes, tell me.
With
Absolutely.
the smoothie machines. And this will really transition into the conversation of the solution.
Great.
And how we can participate as individuals
I love
and
that.
corporates and everybody else. Because at the end of the day, this is a global issue.
Yes.
And we're all accountable for what's
Absolutely.
happening today.
Yep.
But, you know, when Craig and I were kind of at this area of, we can't do smoothie machines anymore. What are we going to do?
Wow.
We started looking at, how could we automate impact?
Okay, automate impact.
Yeah.
Wow.
And, this was a conversation we spent quite a long time talking about on our walks during the pandemic
Great.
when we had
That's
nothing
what
else
you
to do.
That's what you do. Yeah.
And, we talked about how we could automate impact. And when we looked at the world and we looked at our problems of not having enough food to feed people and how much food we're wasting, right? You've got 2.5 billion tons of food going wasted every year.
Yes.
And you have at least 800 million people who can't access food daily.
That's right. That's right.
That's
yeah.
a big number. That's almost 1 billion meals a day.
It's scary to think about, actually, considering how much we have in our culture here. Yeah.
So, Craig said to me one day as we're walking and, thinking about the next steps, he says, what if we were to go to the source of food?
Yes, the source of
where
food. Okay.
a lot of food already gets wasted,
Yep.
perfectly nutritious food.
Sure.
And what if we were to install a unit that could turn that food into a shelf-stable product?
Okay.
Because, a lot of the reason we're racing this food is because time is our enemy.
Yes.
Right? It gets picked and then it doesn't get to the distribution house fast enough or the
Yep.
repackaging center, and then it doesn't get to retail in time, or retail gets it and says, nope, this isn't good enough, that, my avocados are too soft. Right? And then that food's all going wasted.
That's right.
Right? So we're just wasting. And what we realized when we came to this conclusion, that our issue within the food system in our world is not that we don't produce enough food.
Okay.
That's not the problem.
Okay.
The problem is we are not redistributing our food with equity.
Wow.
And so this takes us in now to the conversation of biotrim and our Trendi processors.
I'd love to, yes.
So we install these units at the source on farms and in super clusters of agriculture so that we can help not only one farm or one company, but a whole community of people to reduce their agricultural waste and transform that food into a shelf-stable product that can be redistributed to multiple industries.
Okay.
But right now we're focusing a lot on culinary because, this helps us communicate and adopt chefs to what we're doing.
Sure.
Right? And chefs take a lot of, that conversation forward to the consumer and to people eating in their restaurants, and that's important.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
Our rescuing food and not redistributing it to where it needs to go is really only solving half of the problem.
That's right. That's right.
And so, we took care of biotrim, we created biotrim, but then we said, okay, if we're going to be rescuing all of this at the B2B level and the B2G level,
Yes.
how are we going to engage consumers and, the general public,
Okay,
right? How are we
okay.
going to get them engaged and excited
Yeah.
about what we're doing?
Yeah.
And that's
On
when
board,
we
yeah.
were like, well, what if we took rescued food and we put them in our smoothie machines?
Wow.
What an idea,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that
You're doing the work and you're presenting the product.
Exactly.
Yeah. Showing people that it's delicious. There's no difference. It's actually, in many ways, on a nutritional and flavor level, better.
Yeah,
because
sure.
it's not fresh. That's had to travel
Sure.
in large volumes and weights. And when we, by reducing the weight and the size, we're considerably reducing the footprint and then reducing its perishability by making it shelf stable. Now it can sit on a shelf, not in a fridge. It can be shipped differently, and you're reducing shipping costs. So economically, it makes sense.
Sure.
You're doing right by the world,
Yeah.
and you're passing on the message, which
And
is support this.
Is there? Let's add one more thing. Is the science side? Is this healthy for you? Are these foods like I remember when we had our son was born, we'd be eating oranges, and he'd be taking the peel and eating the whole peel. I was like, are you supposed to be like, you can't be doing that? And then I read it up. I was like, that's one of the most nutritious parts of the whole thing that we throw away every day.
Arbitrarily.
So is this the case for a lot of the food that's being wasted and brought in? And we'll talk more deeper about the ingredients that go into some of these smoothies. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It comes down to how to maximize its full potential. So not just looking at food for it on its surface level, not deciding that a peel and a seed and biomass doesn't have any value, throwing it away, but actually identifying that there's more than one way to peel a banana.
That's right.
And each part of it has a different application or purpose.
Wow.
One person's treasure or garbage is another person's treasure.
Yeah, that's right.
In this case, it's all of our treasure if we use the whole thing. Because every part of everything we grow or farm or raise or fish can be used in a good way. So if we're going to mine something, then let's make sure we're utilizing 100% to maximize its value so that we're not continuing to deplete our resources.
So then, are we, now, I mean, we, Trendi, are we taking stuff, how are we getting this waste now? How are we collecting this? What was the process to create this whole life cycle of your business? I want to hear what gets into the smoothie. What is that life cycle?
So a lot of people, when we first started talking about Trendi and the idea of upcycling product, a lot of people said, what do you mean? You're going to take the compost and, underneath my sink and put it into a smoothie? That's garbage. Disgusting. And I said, well, actually, it's a lot different than what you think it is.
Okay.
And why we might think otherwise as consumers and the general public is because we don't actually have relationships with the source of our food anymore. We believe that, fruits and vegetables are purchased at a grocery store.
That's right. That's right.
Right? We don't see what happens at the farm level, what the work is involved in producing that food.
Sure.
Day in and day out, and the loyalty to the farmers and what they have to their land. Right? They are on those. They are working 24/7 to make sure that our food is delivered to grocery stores each day.
So much pride, so much honor. And,
that's right.
And it is unbelievable, the farmers on the dedication. They just want to serve.
Yes.
They just want to grow for us.
Yes.
Right? And we're taking advantage of a system that is archaic and outdated, and we just need to remember who the heroes are. These are the people that work so hard, sacrifice everything to grow the food that we're eating, guys.
Yes.
Let's stop insulting them and disrespecting them by throwing away more than half of it.
Wow.
So, we continued, Craig and I were curious.
Sure.
Right? So,
sounds like it.
We jumped in the car.
Yeah.
We drove 6,000 kilometers across Canada.
Wow.
And,
good for you. Good for you.
This was also during COVID, kind of coming to the end of it.
Sure.
And we met with farmers.
Yeah, we shook their hands, sat with them.
We met with the producers of some of the largest fruits and vegetables in Canada.
Wow.
And, we saw their operation and we saw their automation lines that showcase what a misfit fruit or vegetable that is unmarketable looks like.
Yes.
And what a marketable product looks like. And I can guarantee that if we had two samples of products sitting side by side, the consumer could not choose.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
we watched trucks. I'm talking dump trucks.
Yeah.
Every 15 minutes to half an hour, coming and going, being filled to the brim, overfilled.
That's right.
with product.
Yes.
And you know where it was going? To the landfill.
Wow.
And not to the compost, not to even animal feed, but to landfill. And there are many examples where it is landfill. I mean, it is composting. There are others that, like I said, low value. But feeding carrots to cows is like feeding us caviar every day. It's overkill. We don't need it.
Wow.
And so, but we watched these trucks come and go, and it broke our heart, made us very emotional. It was a very emotional. We were literally putting product in our pockets trying to rescue it.
Yeah.
Because we couldn't believe how much was just being arbitrarily thrown away.
Wow.
It was such an injustice. It was. It really, really affected us so deeply.
Yeah, and you know, when we look at the financial issues,
Opportunities.
well, no, but the issues that the farmers deal with
Sure.
because of that.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because you're producing 100%.
Yes.
And now, you know, whoever's buying it is saying, oh, you know, I'll take 60% of that because I don't like the other 40%.
That's right.
And then now you get essentially giving your carrots away to the cows for the cost of
That's right.
transport, and so you can avoid your disposal costs. And it puts the farmer in a place where now he can only sell 60% of his carrots. How is that fair?
Yeah, and working 2 jobs, maybe a third job, because they can't even keep the lights on because now it takes 10 times as much farming
crazy.
as they needed just a short while ago
Wow.
in order just to keep their lights on, their break-even points,
Yeah.
10 times in some of these cases.
Yeah. So Trendi had enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had enough of this. We saw this. We were disgusted by it.
Yeah, sure.
And we said, we need to find a way to make things more fair
Wow.
within the system. And how we did that is we said, okay, farmer, you know, you have all this waste that, you know, is perfectly edible, but, you know, it's not making it to spec.
Yes.
How can we, you know, if Trendi was to work with you, what would that look like?
How can we
You know,
help?
how can
Sure.
we help you, and what would motivate you to want to save that food instead of leave it in the field?
Yes.
Or, you know, XYZ other option.
That's
Give it
right.
away.
And they said, well, you know, if I could get a fair price for that food,
Wow.
and it doesn't have to be my farm gate price, but a fair price that at least covers the cost of of producing that food, so
Yes.
I can continue to produce it the next year.
Yeah.
You know, I'd be really open to have a conversation.
Beautiful.
And so that was, you know, really how we started. Was we went to the source, we had the hard conversations,
Yeah.
we unraveled the truth, and then we started building plans to help secure our sources and help to support what happens there. And so when producers
Wow.
work with us, it is a very fair deal.
Yes.
We work very closely to identify how Trendi can provide a solution for not only them, but could be a collection of their farm partners
Sure.
who produce other types of food.
Absolutely.
And you know, now this is a community program. This is not impacting only one farmer. This is impacting a whole community of farmers.
Wow.
And it's not about
producers.
trendy.
Yeah.
It's not about trendy.
No.
Right? Trendy, it helps with the mechanics of it because we have time. This is our focus.
Yeah.
Right? You see all
Great
the-
focus.
Yeah.
Great
Thank
focus.
you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
But they don't have any available time at any available capacity. They're working so hard.
But this is not their mindset, right?
No.
They've always been traditionally into let's grow, let's get it out.
Yeah,
Let's grow,
grow.
get it out. And the process is if there's something that needs to be, there's a byproduct of it, well, traditionally we've just shipped it out and it's gone and it's out of our head because we got to keep doing business.
Yeah.
Suddenly, there's an intermediary that's saying, hey, wait, we can do something with this stuff.
Yeah, and let us do the work because
I'm interested
so
in
you
that.
don't have to.
Yeah.
Let us take that burden
Yes,
on, that
yes.
expense on.
Absolutely.
And let us just provide the solution. But as Carissa said, not just to them.
Yeah.
Let's do it for the whole community.
Wow.
Let's empower the people within to even own and operate
Sure.
these facilities.
Yes.
We have the designs. We have the knowledge. We've done the feasibilities. We're putting it into action. We're launching one very shortly.
Yes.
And so now that we know that this is the right thing to do,
Yeah.
let's do it.
Mass scale.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
We could eliminate food waste at the farm level in Canada alone, and that would pay tenfold the needs of currently what's being underserved. In other words, to eliminate food waste across Canada at the farm, just a farm, not talking
Just-
manufacturers
it's a big
or
deal.
anything.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, it would generate
The source.
enough return, jobs, upskilling for entire communities throughout some of the most underserved areas, which is around the agricultural
So
zones.
nobody was doing this?
Nobody was doing this.
Whoa.
And if they were, it would be a very independent, the concept of let me preserve at the farm level.
Yes.
And we've seen many of these farmers, these beautiful, beautiful people, show us what they've done. They tried drying, they tried pickling. You know, they've done things because they don't. It kills them.
Yes, absolutely.
To throw it away.
Absolutely.
And let's be clear. Even if they've been doing it now for decades,
Yeah.
and it's gone extremely worse
Sure.
in the last 10 years, they still do it because they feel the need to grow and to serve.
Sure.
And,
Sure.
But they're not immune to the challenges that come with watching half of your stuff go into the bin.
Wow.
And but when you see some of the toughest, most rugged people that we saw all over the world now
Yes.
in the farming communities, in tears as they're telling us their story of travesty.
Yes.
And all they want to do is grow for us, feed us.
Yes.
Right? So now they're open to it, but they don't have the time, they don't have the capital to invest. This is where Trendi can provide that one-stop solution so that we can really serve those
Tell me how the
communities.
solution works. Yeah, Carissa, I want to hear this. Let's get down to the smoothie.
Get down to the
Get
smoothie.
down to the smoothie.
So here's the Coles notes of
Yeah,
it,
yeah, great,
right?
great,
you know,
great.
we have these phenomenal partners
Yeah.
with agriculture superclusters and producers. And we place these large-scale facilities in these superclusters. And like Craig was saying, you know, we create these facilities to utilize every aspect of the fruit or vegetable.
Sure, absolutely.
right? Now, what happens is all of this food is now generated from these communities.
Yeah, yeah.
And the challenge, at least right now at the farm level, is when we're building this solution, the question often comes up, who commercializes this product?
That's
because I'm busy and I don't have time to do it.
That's
I'm
right.
gonna start websites, marketing,
Yeah.
PR, all that
Yeah.
stuff.
And so Trendi takes that on. So we become their technology partner.
Sure.
But we also become their partner in commercialization of that product.
Great.
And not only from, you know, a base ingredient, but how could that product be used? So there's product development, and
Sure.
then there's also opportunity for co-packing of CPG and ready-to-eat products.
Yes.
And so what we're able to do is we're really able to build, you know, this new cycle and new system of how we can rescue and capture this food and how we can commercialize it to help the world adopt this type of food.
Beautiful.
You know, this rescued food.
Yeah.
And it has such a beautiful story to it because really it's supporting the farmer because often this type of food, you know, is not at traditional farm gate. It
That's
is
right.
more affordable.
Yes.
Right, so it can reach more people, and because it's shelf stable, we can redistribute it
Amazing.
to wherever we need to any end of the earth.
At the fraction of the cost, because once we put it through our technologies,
Yeah.
through drying and extraction, we are reducing cost and weight in some cases as much as 20 times. Wow. So imagine instead of sending 20 containers for
Yeah.
the same amount of food
Sure.
and nutrients and flavor,
Yes.
you're now only having to send one.
Wow.
Yeah, and so there's a massive economic value here that we can pass on.
Yes.
Create a fairer system,
Yes.
a profit share scenarios
Yes.
where we can then compete or better farm gate. It was always our Trendi goal
Wow.
and mission. And then now the farmers have control again. They have
Yes.
options.
Wow.
We all deserve to have options.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So.
And and just to kind of wrap up, the full cycle solution there is
Yeah.
once those ingredients have been developed, and sometimes our Trendi chefs come in and
Yeah.
help identify ingredient opportunities.
Trendy chefs. Wow.
Trendy chefs. Oh, we have a whole group of amazing
That's really
trendy
cool.
chefs.
Well,
And
I'm
tell-
a chef by trade.
Yes, yeah, we
it's been,
discussed that last time we saw-
decades.
that's
So,
cool.
Yeah, it just naturally
Knowing
migrates.
what to do with food and
Yes.
and it tastes
people.
good. And
but also
people.
connect people. Remember, as a chef, your job, your craft is to feed strangers, people you've never met before.
right.
Leave them more satisfied than they were when they came in.
Absolutely.
And give them the nourishment and experience not only to survive
That's
but
right.
to thrive.
Wow. Wow.
That's the chef perspective, the hospitality.
So then these
built in.
ingredients come together. We
Yep.
come up with some recipes.
Yeah, we come up with some recipes, or we keep them in raw forms.
Yeah.
And we can send, these ingredients to food service,
Yes.
to food manufacturers, to our vending kiosks.
Yes.
And, as well, a big project that Craig and I, are working on right now is how do we turn some of that food into relief products for people who need it most.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yes.
more to come.
More to come.
And so I want to talk about the machines
Yeah.
in this room.
Yeah.
Tell me what goes into this and literally what comes out of it.
Yeah. So each machine
Yeah.
can hold 6 flavors.
Okay.
And what we do is we work with our partners in Ecuador
Yeah.
in a facility where all the fruits and vegetables from the farm level, your mangoes, your pineapples, your bananas,
Yeah.
all the types of products that we can't grow here in Canada.
Sure.
So it would be impossible to localize this program
That's right.
100%
That's
for
right.
the time being,
Yeah.
right? But we rescue and capture that fruit, and we work with our partners down there to put that product in a bib and a bag. And so the product inside of the smoothie machine is actually pasteurized and ready to eat.
Wow.
But we've used a light pasteurization to ensure that we keep the nutrient density of the product fair.
Okay.
And it also includes all the fiber
Yeah,
as well. So
sure.
we're not dispensing an added sugar, juice concentrate product from these machines. This is 100% pure fruit and vegetable puree coming
Wow.
out of these machines.
Wow.
And, we haven't talked a lot about our president at Trendi, Christine. But she was was the executive, former executive chef of President's Choice.
Wow.
She worked at Unilever as a global innovation manager and has worked for some of the largest food service and food companies on the planet.
Wow.
And she has helped really spearhead the development of our products.
It's beautiful.
The co-packing of those products to ensure that the product that comes out of the machine is safe for consumption and tastes delicious.
Wow.
Taste.
Taste,
Yeah,
taste, taste.
I can't wait to try some of that today.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then where would these machines go?
Great question.
Yeah.
The machine...
In your game room.
In your
I'm
game
in.
room.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
in the game room.
Let's sell a few of these and make a game room, guys. I'm in. Yes. Yeah.
They could be anywhere from your kitchen at home if you really wanted to, do that. But when we look at the big picture at Trendi, we see, these machines do really, really well in food service, cafeterias.
Sure.
Hospitals.
Yes.
Schools.
This is the healthy alternative to those soda machines.
That's
right?
correct.
Well, and it goes way beyond obviously just the hydration aspect of it.
Yeah.
But it is that meal replacement concept where I can
Yes.
actually put some fiber and
Yes.
and tons of nutrients into my system quickly on the run, on the go, and it's an alternative to that other product that maybe isn't as healthy for you.
And what is the average cost for something that comes out of these machines then?
8 to 10.
Oh,
what
wow.
we do is we try and keep our margins as reasonable as possible.
Of course,
Where we are also in a position that the farms that we work with, that we partner with, really everybody gets paid fairly.
Great.
And so,
Yeah.
but what we, so part of that 8 to 10 is also part that we give to the institution.
Great.
So they get actual revenue generated
Beautiful,
from it.
beautiful.
So we do all the work. Once
Yes.
again, we bear all the costs.
Yes.
It costs nobody anything. We put it there and we take care of it and we fill it. And it's your gift to anyone that's hanging out there every day.
Wow. So there's this moral institution inside both of you that now comes out to the public. And as a technology company, you have to be funded. There has to be money that goes into this. Who is coming to you to invest in this beautiful space? I want to hear about that story of it's one thing to be passionate, but when you have passionate ideas that don't have any funding, you are just passionate at times. I've been there.
Yeah, I've been there.
I've been a passionate artist for many years. But let's go deeper into that idea that let's put money where the opportunity is. And so, how did you guys look for funding when you needed it? Yeah.
So
great
I'll
question.
answer this one.
Sure,
It's a
great.
fun one.
We got answers. Yeah.
When Craig and I were going through the whole COVID thing, we had no money.
Yes,
So we
yes.
were, living on
was
a
a tough
mattress and a table, and we had a table and a TV, and that was about it. And $100,000 worth of smoothie puree.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, because COVID wiped us out, we had to sell everything, move into a semi-basement apartment.
Wow.
The only thing we kept was our mattress, and as Carissa said, a plastic fold-out table with a TV on it. The only other thing we had there was a gifted from one of Chris's friends shelving to hold $100,000 worth of smoothie puree.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we were in this place where we had, put the Biotrend project together, the idea of these trendy key processors that were going to rescue food. And we looked at each other and we said, well, we don't have the funding to do this because, we needed at least $1.5 million US dollars to, get everything really to a place where we could, build out our first prototype.
Yeah.
So I had a message from an accelerator on LinkedIn named New Chip, and they were very interested. Thank you, New Chip. And they were very interested in, what Trendi was doing. And they said, hey, we really love what you're doing. Would you consider applying for the accelerator? We're interested in giving you a scholarship.
Wow.
And I'm like, all right.
Back to school.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that.
And, at that point, we had about, I don't know, 10 grand in the bank account. And this program with the scholarship was going to cost $8 million.
Wow.
Right? So this was really risky.
Yeah.
I said, Craig, we've got nothing to lose because this directly relates to our next step.
This is our future.
And we didn't know the whole corporate language.
Yes,
we didn't know the legalities.
Yes.
What Chris and I had done in our life didn't garner us with the experience to in the corporate world and understanding that. So we needed to learn what is a venture capitalist? How does it work? Where do you get money? How do you get money?
Yeah.
And how do you do it smartly? And then
and so we participated in the accelerator. Very cautious with our pennies.
Now, where was this?
It was online. It was all virtual because
great.
we're still in COVID at this point, right?
Great. And where was the accelerator stem from?
California,
In
I
California,
think.
okay.
No, it's from Texas.
Texas, okay.
Yes.
Good old Texas.
Good old Texas.
Come on, right on.
And so, we started this accelerator. We listened to everything they said.
Yeah.
We pushed back because we had some opinions of our own.
Sure.
And we started reaching out. We used the strategies that they recommended. We reached out to investors on LinkedIn. We started conversations. We built investor decks. We did it all.
Wow.
And we divided and conquered.
Sure.
And, within 2 months of us being in the accelerator, we met our lead investor, Herb Madden.
Yeah.
Herb.
Good old Herb.
And Herb's got a huge heart. He is equally as passionate about the financial world as he is about making impact.
Yeah.
And that was really important for Trendi.
Sure.
And then he said to us, hey guys, I'm interested in this. There's a couple of things I'd like to go through with you. But I have a whole group of doctors out of Florida who are also interested in investing in this project.
Wow.
And we're like, well, tell us more about the doctors.
He did have 2 conditions, though. He said, I got to know that you can think big and grow fast.
Yeah, wow.
And right away, of course, with confidence, we both agreed that those were acceptable terms.
Great.
And they were aligned very much.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a beautiful angel.
Yeah.
Oh, unbelievable. It was a series of events that is really quite shocking, and we don't have the time today on this podcast.
Even how we connected again, you know? Everything is timing, and when you see people, they appear, and when you need them, they appear.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Totally.
Okay, so then Herb's in.
Herb's in.
And the doctors are in as well from Vestech.
Big deal.
And the next thing you know, we've raised our seed round at $2.25 million.
And at this point, we had a couple of employees.
Yes.
We did what we could do and afforded what we could afford.
Yes.
But we had a lot of support by communities, and
of
but
course,
once that check cashed, we grew. I think we added to the company 30 or 40 or 50 people in the next few months.
Wow.
And it grew at an accelerated rate, which is interesting because in the areas of the legal side and finance side, Carissa and I sucked at it.
Yeah.
And, so we need
bring in the right people.
You
bring in the right people.
You got to bring in the right people.
Absolutely.
But even trying to identify what those right people are
can
be challenging.
Absolutely.
So it's been an interesting ride of scaling so quickly. It's unbelievable. And
unbelievable.
When we were surviving on our own smoothies, our daily food budget each was $1.50.
Wow.
And so we had to shop at the highest discounts, and we had to do with whatever we could do.
Sure.
And we did side hustles like catering jobs, and I was cooking, and Carissa and I were doing small gigs on the side, whatever we could do to keep the light on. and it didn't always keep the lights on because it followed with evictions.
Sure.
So, but really, once we started to put out this message of, hey, we can turn this into a powder.
Wow.
And we started to convert it, and we just kind of floated it around. People went nuts.
Wow.
And it was just became what was laborsome and challenging before and expensive, time consuming.
Yes.
Now came down to a shake, shake, shake. Instant juices, instant smoothies, instant baby food.
Absolutely.
You name it. So then we realized there was a what's possible behind all of this.
Where are these machines in the world right now? Are they? Tell me.
YVR.
Yeah. Oh, they're at the airport. Of course.
Yep.
How logical is that?
Yeah.
Rather than standing in a lineup at, I won't say what coffee shops or whatever there are, but this is so convenient.
Yeah.
This is so convenient.
Yeah.
And but this is not just a North American phenomenon. You're traveling now, and I want to hear about your travels and what is being seen in other places in the world that this can help, and what other ideas are coming out of that. You guys just went. Tell me about where has this taken you? Where has this adventure for yourself taken you? I want to hear about that.
Craig and I have been traveling nonstop
I've
since we started
heard.
Trendi.
Just to get you here today, I was like, hey, I'm here. I'm here for you whenever you need me.
You know, I think the world has embraced Trendi a lot faster than we had expected.
Yeah, amazing,
You
amazing.
know, I think our vibrant trendy green helps us, showcase that we're doing something innovative and new
Beautiful.
with a lens on sustainability.
Absolutely.
And people at trade shows seem to be very attracted to that color because
Yes.
they're sitting in a sea of gray and blue
Yes.
and black.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so we've traveled, this time last year, I was speaking on stage in Dubai with
So
the
cool.
consulates,
Yeah.
talking about food waste reduction programs.
Yes. Yes.
The transfers to South by Southwest. Craig and I are constantly on the road, not only looking at how we can help a company reduce their food waste, but sometimes we're helping countries reduce their food waste. And
Would
those
you have ever
conversations.
imagined hitting the world stage, with your ideas, with this technology, that there are people there to listen to you and hear you, really hear you?
So humbled by there's so much seeming doom and gloom out there in the world, and we have our challenges in front of us.
Sure.
But as long as we take affirmative action in a strategic way that really fulfills the value system of people, planet, profit, and we're going to be okay. It gives us a sense of a very pure sense of reality when we have these discussions, and we're having them with the largest companies on the planet, the biggest governments on the planet,
Wow.
and multiple royal families on the planet,
Wow.
education boards, states, interstates. It's amazing. And
Wow.
it shows me that there's hope. It shows me that there's enough
Wow, that's
influence
huge. That's
behind
huge.
this. Yeah.
This is the future. This is the future.
People are ready for change. They're ready to take action.
So as I mean, let's just segue to the end here. What is the future now for you? What is next? You've done so much. This is a runway, right? And you're taking off, and you're in the air. And now, what is next? What is the next elevation?
I think.
Are you allowed to tell me?
Well, I think Chris has slipped it out a little bit.
Yes,
but
yes, you
you'll be
mentioned.
hearing a lot more about not only trendy tech, but trendy relief.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And
Trendy relief.
and Carissa and I big changes. We just, as of a couple of days ago, Carissa and I stepped down from our positions.
Yes.
So I am no longer CEO, and Chris is no longer CMO. We are co-founders.
Beautiful.
And we are under the leadership and guidance now of somebody that is better at this than I am.
Beautiful.
Better at the day-to-day, better at the structure, and even responding to his emails. So Lance is not only a beautiful person,
he's lovely,
but he is an amazing business. He's an amazing all-around package. And we became very close very quickly.
Yes.
And it became very clear to not only myself, Carissa, and the board that he was better for the job than I was.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And which is amazing, because now Carissa and I have the gift to be able to really focus on trendy relief. This is where we can focus on the biggest stages on the planet,
Yes.
having the biggest conversations.
Yes.
And these are considered normally what is in business terms called slow burns. It takes a long time to establish these relationships to
Sure.
a point that there's a solution attached to it.
Wow. I first of all, thank you. Thank you for sharing. And I know there's like so much more that's going to go into this. And I think I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be following you around, I think, a little bit more with
Oh
some
my
cameras.
Can't
God!
wait.
Thank you. This
Human
is so
Biography is
privileged.
going to just sort of have fun with you both and see what happens in the next year. We're going to talk to Lance a little bit more.
Yeah.
We're going to and
Meet
also,
the team.
But there's people. There's
Oh,
people, right?
amazing
So
people.
tell me about the fun stuff, finding people that you love to work with.
That's all Carissa.
Right?
That's all.
right?
I know no
You're
one.
a connector. I mean, look how
she's
we're
a
at the table
connector.
together,
Yeah,
right?
It's all Carissa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what Craig and I did when we started scaling
Sure.
was we looked more for heart than we did for
Absolutely.
skill.
Yeah.
Because you could have any university education.
Absolutely.
And there's about 3 months of onboarding at Trendi so that you can learn about how food is wasted in our world.
Wow.
And, so we look for heart and we look for passion and
Sure.
we look for, a fundamental of skill.
Great.
And I think, the team that built Trendi from its infancy, there's a special bond that all of us have. We went through the trenches together, we came out of it with this, brand that people are now speaking about, and this company that
Everybody.
is, making action.
Absolutely.
And so, then what happened after about a few months of us, starting to scale the company and get
Yeah.
traction, we started having people coming to us saying, I'm really bored at my job. I don't like this,
Yeah,
the work I'm
Or
doing
I'm not
right now.
inspired.
I'm
Yeah.
not inspired.
You wanna be inspired.
I want to come work at Trendi.
Yeah.
And I don't care about how much you can pay me, and I don't
Yeah,
care
yeah,
about,
yeah.
I want to do this.
Yes.
And so, we scaled to about 50 people really quickly
Wow, that's
because of
crazy.
that in less than 6 months.
Wow.
And to this day, the people who reach out to us say, can I volunteer at Trendi?
People are going to watch this, and Lance is going to email.
Yes,
Chris, You guys
please.
are like, hey.
Join the family.
So what type of people do you need?
Oh,
Passionate people, right?
If you ask just me this
Yeah,
question,
yeah.
I want everybody. For me, it's about
Trendy world, right?
Yeah, it's trendy. Well, and it's not about trendy. It's got to be always focused on the mission.
Yeah.
It's always going to be okay. If you're ever in doubt, just ask what the mission would do.
Great.
Right? What is the straightest line to feeding people equally and creating a fairer system on this planet?
Wow.
As fast as possible.
Wow.
Because every single day that another one dies of hunger, there's a part of responsibility put on all of us because of that. And so I think that we need to put more weight to the criminality and the murder of people that are dying because they don't have access to food when we can do something about it. And I'm not talking about dropping bombs and pulling out guns. I'm talking about conversations with all parties of power and influence, and to say, okay, here we are at this round table. This is what's in it for you.
Yeah.
This is what's in it for us.
Absolutely.
This is what's in it for them. This is what's in it for everybody.
Absolutely.
It's all apparent. It's all transparent. And we can say, okay, how much is enough? We can each ask ourselves, how much is enough? And we all
Yes.
need to start doing that.
Yes.
And if you're going to buy, always take a pause to at least buy upcycled.
Yes.
There are so many
Yes.
practical uses for the stuff that we throw away.
Yep.
And if we can kind of slow down like that, what it'll also do is give us back time. Because if we don't need as much money for things,
Yes.
then we have more time for what's really important to
Yes.
each other. Bring back the community, bring back happiness.
I think that's a great segue to wrap up. I know we're going to have many more conversations. I know that we're going to have much more development in what's going on here, but I want to thank you for your time. I say amor, love, so my whole work is based on love. I sit with people I love, admire, doing things that are made from love, and that is a great example of your work. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you,
Thank
my
you.
friend.
For everyone out there that wants to know more about Trendi, we'll post some of their details, their info, and thank you. That's another episode of the Human Biography Podcast.